Sean London, and I am the product tour and live sound mixing manager. I'm here today at Allen Heath, and we are basically showing our product here at NAMM Festival 2018. What you see here is our D-Live S7000, which is our top-of-the-line mixer, digital mixer from Allen Heath. This just came out about 6 years ago, and it's still by far making its rounds to the rest of the mixing world. So basically what you see here is the 7000, and the 7000 basically is the same as every other console that's in our product line for D-Live, but the difference is it has another 12 extra faders in it, and it has a couple of different encoders, but it still is the same surface, and it controls every single cube mix rack that we have, just as the 1500 or a smaller one can control the same mix rack that we have for this. So how we have this laid out now, we have a front of house platform, which we call a show file, and with this show file here, we can actually change this any way we want to, depending on who the mixer is. And some people prefer to have vocals in one section and your backline and all of your instruments in another section. Each section is a bank, and each bank carries up to 6 different layers, which you can actually add instruments up to 128 channels just off the board, but you can add up to 800 inputs if you wanted to through our I/O ports. Now what we're using on this is Dante, because we're sending a signal out to the rest of all the consoles of some multi-track playback. So this is our master right now, and we are using this to actually work with other consoles. So just real quickly, this window is what we call our production window. This is all our processing is done here for each channel, and this is our administrative window. And here we can select a channel, and what you see at the top here is your signal flow for that channel. We start off with the bank. The bank will show you the actual channel strip and what it's doing. You got your compressor, you got your gates, your filters, your EQs, and your compression, which is we're not using any compression now. Then we go to the overview, and this is pretty much another window. And these are all touchables. You can go through and just touch and move anything you want on this GUI screen. These are Gorilla Glass. These are very tough screens. They won't break. Same what they use in the iPad. So we can go to a gate, we can get to an insert if we want to. We got pre-EQ set up for this channel. We got comps. We got another insert on the rear end of the signal flow, and we have delay compensation if we need it. So each channel has everything you need right up in your hands. Right up at this window. You have hands-on on anything you want to. So each encoder deals directly with whatever you're using, and if you select it for the high-pass filter, you can control the high-pass filter. You want the low-pass, you can control it here. Those encoders will deal with all of that. You have these user buttons here for your side compression, side gates. You can put your effect sends on, and these are all interchangeable. All you would do is set up your you would touch that guy here, and let's say I would like I want just a comp on this first number, and then I'll do a gate on the second one, and I'll apply it. And now, to my fingertips, I can say, hey, here we go. I just got my gate comp here, but now I just want my comp, and I want to just see what's going on with this guy. It's all pretty user-friendly, really easy to deal with. Most mixers that use this, they basically tell me that this is the easiest way to get around things. Most of the consoles you have are basically one-to-one. You have to, go with the layout that's already pre-designed for this console. But for this console, you can actually change in any attribute you want to. So we get into this section here. This is our administrative section. You got metering for all the channels, and you can scroll up and down all the way up to 128 channels. You got your effects metering, so instead of having to actually go to see your effects, what it's doing, you can see what's going on before you hit the effects. You've got your 16 stereo channels of effects. And then with each effect, you can designate that effect by going to the library, and you can go through and check through all of these effects. You got delays, reverbs, and in those reverbs you got 50 to pick from, and there are a lot of them emulated from like Lexicon and lots of the well-known outboard gear. You got Bucket Brigade, which is some identifiable delays for guitars or drums or vocals. You got echoes, you got ADT choruses, you got flanger. Everything you need is in here within our own deep processing effects, as that's what we call them. We have our I/O section. The I/O section is expandable. You can move it around just like, like you would on an iPad or something. You have your inputs, your outputs, your tie lines. You got virtual sound check for when you're bringing in audio or recording audio and you want to spit it back out. Here's your I/O for that particular section. You have the Surface. The Surface has in and outs in the back as well. So you have 14 actual local inputs and outputs. You have 14 as well for this particular console. But you also have USB output, you have ports, you have 2 ports on the back of this. You can use I/O cards, and you can send these. You got opto in the back as well, and you got pre-fade listen. You have every output you choose to use is basically here at your your finger top on the desktop. You got scenes, you can load your scenes in. You got ganging. Mix rack. Mix rack is basically everything that's underneath us here. That is at your fingertips, all through this one button. You got your Surface. These are all your channels. You can move channels anywhere you want to on the board just by dragging and dropping them there, and they go anywhere you want to. You got your shows. So let's say you load in your show. It'll show up here. You dump it on the console. It brings it up, and it does not shut down. It keeps going while you are loading your stuff. You can't do that with any other console. And then you have your routing. It's all self-explanatory. If you know how to mix, then this is the easiest console for you to learn.
So, Sean, before you were working with these, were you a mixer?
Yes. 25 years. I was a front of house engineer for many, many touring artists. This job came along by a friend who said, "You want to work for a manufacturer?" And I said, "Absolutely." And here I am.
So it looks like this does everything but make coffee and martinis.
Actually, we haven't tried that yet, but I'm sure it could if we found a way.
Shaken, not stirred?
Shaken, not stirred. Pushed and not faded.
So, Sean, tell us, people want to get in touch with you or see more about products. What should they do?
They can go online and go to the Allen Heath website.
That's ALLEN.
What's that?
ALLEN, HEATH.
Yes, HEATH.com. Also, AMNS.com is our marketing distributor for all of the products that you see here. And one of us will get back to you. There's an info email, direct email, and then one of us will get back to you with any questions you have or any concerns.
Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome, thank you.